Hello children, I hope you have gone through the first chapter of Indian economic development. If so, you must have analyzed what was the Indian economy before the advent of British rule, how prosperous and in abundance the goods were produced. We were self-sufficient in handicraft industries, agricultural sector, foreign trade, and how these sectors were ruined by the Britishers after the advent of British rule in India. Things drastically changed in the agriculture sector, which was starved of investment and led to the pathetic state of the farmers. The industrial sector was again bleak in its growth. With the establishment of few industries here and there, it could in no way take the pride of place so long enjoyed by the handicraft industries. Foreign trade grew and we had export surplus, but the only intention and motive was benefit to the Britishers' own home country. Children, if you really want to enjoy your learning, please go through these chapters in the sequence of its post. I'm sure you'll love the subject. So, in today's class, children, we will be learning about the demographic condition that prevailed at the time of independence, which reveals the quality of life led by the people then. We will also discuss about the occupational structure, how lopsided it was. We will discuss also about the infrastructure prevailing at the time of independence and the motive behind it. All these subtopics will help you to understand where was India in the year 1947 and where it is today. So, when you compare India with the developed countries of the world, this analysis and these points should be taken in mind to get the real perspective of what India is, how strong India is to overcome all these obstacles and reach the place where it is today. And it could only be possible because of the firm determination of the government and we, the people. So, we start with the demographic condition. It is the study of statistics such as births, deaths, income, or the incidence of disease, which illustrates the changing structure of human population. So, let's study the composition of human population at the time of independence, which was greatly affected by the British rule, the demographic condition. It exhibited all features of a stagnant and backward economy. Here, we focus on parameters like birth rate and death rate, infant mortality rate, life expectancy, literacy rate. The detailed estimation of population size along with the complete demographic profile of the country is usually collected via the census. The first census was conducted under the British rule in the year 1881. Since then, it is conducted after every 10 years. Children, here we come across a term, demographic transition. What it is? In the history of demography, transition, 1921 is regarded as the year of Great Divide. Why so? Because prior to 1921, population growth in India was never consistent. Size of population kept fluctuating, increasing in one census and decreasing in other. After 1921, population in India recorded a consistent rise, which led to excessive burden of maintenance investment. The social development indicators of the population then were not encouraging. As you can see on screen, the overall literacy level was less than 16%. Out of this, the female literacy level was at a negligible low of about 7%. The public health facilities were either unavailable to a large chunks of population or when available were highly inadequate, which led to water and airborne diseases which were rampant and took a heavy toll on life. Overall mortality rate was very high. In particular, the infant mortality rate was quite alarming. It was 218 per thousand, in contrast to the present mortality rate of 40 per thousand. Life expectancy was also very low, just 44 years, in contrast to the present 68 years. Extensive poverty prevailed in India, which contributed to the worsening profile of India's population. So children, you may now envisage how long India has reached its path of growth. Next, as we talk about occupational structure, which means the distribution of working persons across different industries and sectors, there was a great dependence on agriculture. As can be seen in the pie chart on screen, 70 to 75% of the population was engaged in the agricultural sector, while the manufacturing and the service sector accounted for only 10 and 15 to 20% respectively. Children, as here on screen, we have the map of India as collected from Google, which shows India and Pakistan together. This is how India was before independence. Children, the occupational structure had a characteristic feature of regional variation. These figures of around 75% people engaged in agriculture, 10% in manufacturing and around 15% in service are an average figure, which denotes the population's engagement in different sectors. But variations existed in certain parts of the then Madras Presidency, which comprises of the present-day states of Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala and Karnataka. The Bombay and Bengal, as they witnessed a decline in the dependence of workforce in the agricultural sector with a commensurate increase in the manufacturing and the service sector. While, on the other hand, there had been an increase in the share of workforce in agriculture during the same time in states such as Orissa, Rajasthan and Punjab. So, we can see state-wise variations in the occupational structure existed. Since bulk of the working population was engaged in agriculture sector and the agricultural sector was stagnating, it meant that the Indian economy was in a state of extreme backwardness and masses led their life in extreme poverty. Let's see the state of infrastructure now. Infrastructure serves as a foundation for growth and development of any country. The economic changes are brought about through transport, communication, banking sector, etc., while the social changes are brought about by education, health and housing facilities. Based on the observations, the state of India's infrastructure on the eve of independence is as follows. The railways. The railways were introduced in India in 1850 and of course it was considered as one of the most important contributions made by the Britishers. It affected the structure of the Indian economy in two important ways. On the one hand, it enabled people to undertake long distance travel and thereby break the geographical and cultural barriers, while on the other hand, it fostered commercialization of Indian agriculture, which adversely affected the self-sufficiency of the village economies in India. So, there were social benefits which were gained by the Indians due to the introduction of the railways, but it was at the cost of huge economic loss. The British government took measures for developing the inland trade and sea lanes too. However, these measures were far from satisfactory as the inland waterways proved uneconomical, as was the case in Coast Canal on the Orissa coast. Though this canal was built at a huge cost to the government exchequer, yet it failed to compete with the railways which soon traversed to the region running parallel to the canal, which later had to be abandoned. The introduction of the expensive system of postal services, electric telegraph in India served the purpose of maintaining law and order. Roads were built primarily to serve the purpose of mobilizing the army within India and drawing out raw material from the countryside to the nearest railway station or the port to send these to faraway England and foreign destinations. There was shortage of all-weather roads to reach out to rural area during the rainy season. That was the reason people suffered grievously during the natural calamities. To some of children, the real motive behind these development was not to provide basic amenities to the people, but to subserve various colonial interests. Children, by the time India won its independence, the impact of the 2-century-long British colonial rule was already showing on all aspects of the Indian economy. Prevalence of rampant poverty and unemployment required welfare-oriented public economic policy. In a nutshell, the social and economic challenges before the country was enormous. We will see in the subsequent chapter how the leaders of independent India adopted various policies within the resources that we had then to uplift all the sectors simultaneously. Thank you.